Welcome to the Texas Tea Podcast. I'm your host, Hook Dog. We have a special episode today. I have a special guest, Ashley Ann. I don't
Hey,
want to use
hey.
your government,
Yeah,
but
please
Ashley
don't.
Ann, you know what I'm saying? Let me give you a little rundown on who she is and who I know her as before we get into her telling her story. I met her. How are you? You were like,
I was 16 or 17.
yeah, 16. She was like 16, 17. She was a baby, man. And I remember I was talking to a homegirl, and I just happened to go to a homegirl room one time, and she was there, and I met her, and I actually met Zoe. Yeah, I met Zoe, which was her boyfriend at the time, and we went to the back of the hotel and shot. We shot guns. Remember we shot that gun?
That was the first time I met you.
That was the first time we went to the
When
back
there was
over there off of
there
Green
used to
off of
be a
Greenville.
forest behind. Well, there okay. Those
It was off
hotels
of
aren't even over there no more.
Nuh-uh. But
Yeah,
this was
there was those extended stay hotels, and there used to be a forest behind the hotels. That hotel's not even there. The
yeah,
forest isn't even there no more.
yeah,
But we shot guns. I didn't know
yeah.
that was the first time we met.
Yeah, that was the first time we
Yeah,
met. Yeah, hell
that was
yeah.
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? But um I just remember seeing a kid in the streets, and like, I don't know, man, like as she grew, I talked to her homegirl, so me and her homegirl, we was we was messing around or whatever. And how me and you got close was something happened with Zoe, and Zoe tried to get you to set me up to rob me. Remember? And you called me and you said, "Hey, look, I fuck with you. Like, like you've always been real with me." Um, and you was like, Zoe's trying to get me to set you up, type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you actually asked to pull up on me, and it was Snug Harbor over there for Skillman.
Yeah.
But you pulled up over there, and we talked about it.
You
You
were
had,
dating this girl with short hair.
huh?
You were,
Yeah,
yeah,
Cammy.
yeah.
Yeah, I was dating Cammy, and you came over
And
there.
you got real cool with Zoe too.
Yeah, me and Zoe got cool, but on a distant basis, we never really kicked it. But how he was moving, like how bro moved, like, you know what I'm saying. This is before I knew about the whole throwing you under the bus, you getting arrested. We're gonna get to that. You know what I'm saying. But when you came and told me that, it's like me and you got close, and I can remember times, and I tell Emmy all the time. I remember times, bro, where when you got into the life or whatever, bro, you would just pick me up. We would just roll around and listen to Zero and smoke blunts. You know what I'm saying? Like, and and,
Well, that
and
was even before I got in, because
the,
all that time I wasn't in the life.
I don't even know.
I was never in the life then.
You talking about when you had to be when we listen to Solid by Zero?
Oh, like
Yeah,
years later. I
yeah, that
thought
was
you were
your that
talking
was
about
your
like when I was a
yeah. We
teenager.
finna go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm just
Okay.
telling them
Yeah.
how how me and you, how, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You was always a good friend. You know what I'm saying? But I say that to say, this is gonna be a very respectful episode. I want to know your story, and we finna get into that. You know what I'm saying? You have a very unique story, and the shit just, we finna get into it. So first, tell us who you were before the world knew you as a stripper slash sex worker.
Mm. I mean, I was just like a very lost kid in the streets.
How were you? Like, how was your upbringing? Like where are you from?
Um, I was born in Iowa, and then I moved. Me and my,
Speak up a little bit.
I was born in Iowa,
Uh huh.
and I moved. Me and my mom moved to DFW when I was like a little kid, and then when it was just me and my mom, we didn't have a lot of money. We had to live with her sisters. Like, we couldn't afford our own place, and like, yeah, we would have to go to these churches and these basements, and they would like make us run around to race other people for expired food. And so, yeah, then she got married to this guy, and I thought he was rich because we finally had our own apartment. So I was like, we're
Yeah.
rich. But we were like, what I know now is we weren't rich, but I thought we were rich. Um, but and it seemed cool at first, but he was very crazy. And then that's my sister's dad. And then the first time I got kicked out, I was in 8th grade. So I was like 13. No, I think I was 14 when the first time I got
You
kicked
gotta
out.
speak up.
I was 14.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, you
The
got it.
first
Yeah, they
time I
gotta
got
get you out
kicked
of
out,
there.
I was 14.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just kind of had to start figuring out things at a young age. And when he would kick me out, he would tell my mom, like, she has to block me and that I wouldn't have family. So if he would kick me out, if he got mad at me, then I wouldn't have no family. And then I hadn't seen my dad, my real dad. I hadn't seen him since I was like 2 when we left Iowa. So I just wouldn't have no one really whenever he would get mad and he would kick me out. So I had to just kind of like figure things out and at a young age. And at a young age, I grew a mentality of, you know, you can't depend on no one, you can't trust no one, and you only got yourself, and you can only count on yourself, and to have a place, roof over your head, you know, you've got to like make money somehow, you know,
Yeah.
or you have to know people, or someone's got to show you some type of love. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what led you into the lifestyle?
Well, I was first put around that lifestyle when I was 16 because this guy, he was like, this guy I went to school with. I would go smoke with him at his uncle's house, and his uncle was like a pimp, I guess. And I was like 16. I didn't really know nothing about all that, but we would go to his uncle's house, and his uncle had this nice house, and we would smoke. And because I was underage, his uncle would never like pop at me. He would never talk to me like that.
Yeah.
I didn't even really knew what was going on. But then I had this homegirl, and she was 18, and she would come around, and when he knew that she was 18, he would like pop at her and he would like talk to her, like trying to get her to like work for him. And I was like, okay, what's happening? But yeah, but yeah, so they had like kind of started talking about doing that, and then me and that girl both got kicked out at the same time. And then I called her and I was like, what are we gonna do? And she was like, well, you can hit up da 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 da. And I was like, okay, if we hit him up, he's gonna mean business and he's gonna want you to like work like now.
Yeah.
Like, are you ready
Right.
for that? She'd never done anything like that before. And he had been talking to her for a few months. And he would never talk to me about it because I was like this baby to him, like this little girl.
Yeah.
And she was like, call him. And so she called him, and he asked over and over. He was like, are you sure you want to do this? And she was like, yeah. And then I was like, so what's going to happen to me? And he was like, I'll get her a 2-bedroom apartment. You can live in the other room. And as long as she's cool with it, then she'll work and take care of everything. And I was like, are you cool with that? And she's like, yeah, we don't have no other like thing to do. So I'm like, okay. And then he moved our stuff out of our parents' houses. I think I broke in my mom's house to get my stuff. But
You say you what?
I think I broke in my mom's house to get my stuff because they wouldn't let me get none of my stuff. And I got my first job at 14. Like most of that stuff I had bought myself. But yeah, he got all of our stuff. He put it in this 2-bedroom apartment in North Dallas. And then on the other side, it was like this apartment. Then you walk across and it was this studio apartment. He gave her both. He moved us in that same day. And I was like, I don't even know what's happening. But I had a feeling. I was like, this is not good probably. But, we didn't have nothing else to do. So, yeah. And then he gave us all these rules. I just remember I was like, what? I was like, I'm not sure. I don't have nothing to do with this.
And how old were you at the time?
16.
Shit.
And he was like, can't have no men over, can't, da, 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 just all these rules. And then this girl that had been down, like, the bottom, whatever. He like introduced us to
And
her.
explain about them, because these are people who are not familiar with what the game is and what a bottom is. So like, what do you?
I think she had been with him for like years.
So a bottom is basically the main one he's been with, the one he's been with originally, right?
So I'll say everybody got a different definition of bottom, but
Right.
basically that's was my interpretation at the time
Right.
of it.
Okay.
And she was like serious.
How was y'all relationship?
She was just a serious woman. I was this little kid. I was like, this lady for real. She gonna
Yeah.
beat me up or something.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's the vibes you got. Like she was like aggressive.
just serious. Just
Yeah.
like, like, are you really gonna do this? Like, and as she should, but yeah, it was like we were young. And she was like technically an adult, but at the time, I mean, she's only 18 too. So
Yeah.
she really just kind of a baby too, just a little bit older.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the next morning they were calling her because they're like, okay, you got to work. So they had like calls, like dates, like lined up the next morning. They had already taken her pictures, everything. And we're moved in this apartment. And yeah, and then she wouldn't answer her phone. And I was like, I think you got to answer that. It's just like, she was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I was like, we're already in here. He moved us in here. You can't like say no now. Like, you got to do
You
it.
gotta go.
Like,
Yeah, you gotta do. Yeah.
like, he spent all this money. Like,
Yeah.
girl, what is he going to do? And I was just like, man, I was like, I don't think you should play with him or this, like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I think this is just bad. And, yeah. And then, yeah, they kept blowing up her phone. She wouldn't answer. Then they started blowing both of them. Then they started blowing up my phone. And she was like, don't answer, don't answer. And I'm like, bro, he gonna come in this house. She was like, he doesn't have a key. I said, you wild, insane if you think he don't got a key to this place. I
You're
was
right.
like, he has a key. He has all the keys. And she was just, and then the girl, she started banging on the door and she was like, don't answer. And then she like came in the house and she was like, just screaming, like, get up, what's going on, da da da. And then she went to work. And
Yeah.
she went to work and then she came back. I remember she was like, he gave me a tip. What do I do? Do I have to tell him? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need that. but yeah, so that was like for a few months. And then she actually told her parents the address of where we lived, and they called the police, and actually detectives started calling my phone, and that was crazy. And I was like, why would you do that?
And so
But
what
it
the
messed
what?
everything up. So yeah, and then I don't know where I went after that, but that was like my introduction to that life.
But that was the end of that situation when all that happened. Okay. And what did you get from that experience? Like after that you was like, okay, I'm gonna still keep doing this, or
Well, I wasn't even doing it.
like you were just
I was just
kind of
there.
experiencing it, like just
I was just
witnessing
firsthand
it.
seeing all of it.
When did you first like start doing it?
I didn't start doing it until I was in my 20s.
In your 20s? And
Yeah,
what
I
was
didn't get into like that life until I was in my 20s.
yeah, and like how? Like 20 what?
I don't even know.
So you first experienced
Well, like when I was 18 and 19, because then another time I had got kicked out and I didn't have nowhere to go. Zoe brought me over to Zoe's house. I didn't know Zoe. I had
Oh,
never met
okay.
Zoe a day in my life
How did he know Zoe?
because they went to school together in middle school, and apparently they were like having relations behind my back. And that's how they knew each other. And he told her, like, my girlfriend really needs a place to stay. And she was like, I guess she said yes. And so I didn't have nowhere to go. I was like on the streets with my stuff. I didn't have nowhere. Me and him would fight so much. His mom wouldn't let me stay at her house no more because she was like, y'all fight too much. So I was just like telling him like I don't have nowhere to go. And then he was like, well, I got this one place, it's the only place I know where to take you. So then he took me over to Zoe's house, and Zoe, we should have used a different name, but she was a girl that worked.
I mean, it is what it is. Like
Yeah,
we can blank shit out. Just go ahead.
but a girl that worked, and she lived in rooms. Her mom lived in rooms, and that's all she had known her whole entire life. But that's what she would do, is very low grade
Yeah.
prostitution. And he's bringing me to this girl's house that I didn't know, and I'm like 17 years old, and I didn't have nowhere to go, so I'm like, like, I guess so. But yeah, and then I was like, why is she letting me stay here? And he was just like, she's just being nice. And I was like, I don't know this girl. I don't understand why she's like, because he left. He went back home to his mom's. And I'm
Yeah.
just at this girl's house. And I'm like, this is like a really weird situation.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on here? And then I just kept asking him. And I was like, she's going to make me start doing it. I just don't understand why she would let me do this for free. I don't even know her. Like, why would she take care of me? I don't know this girl. I don't want to do this with her.
Yeah.
And I was just like very young and just like I didn't know what was going on. But I needed a place to stay, so I was like, you know what? Then okay,
Yeah.
I still have to work. But yeah. But then got a firsthand, like the other situation was like more upscale situation.
Right.
Compared to that, that was like my firsthand seeing like low grade. I mean, it gets more low grade than that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends. But
I can
that was
remember.
pretty low grade.
I can remember a time to where what was it, extended stay over there by like Kuwait. I can remember a time that you were in the game and I was in the game at the same time, and I remember I would come over there and see you had shaved your head.
Yeah, I shaved my hair off in jail in 2015.
Yeah, and I remember you did
And then when
the
I
Amber
got out,
Rose.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did bleach it.
yeah. But I remember
I would get
I remember
designs in
coming
my
over there
head too.
and smoking a blunt with you,
Yeah, that was
and
crazy.
just seeing you had the whole room done up like it was your apartment. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
But
I lived there.
yeah, duh, yeah, but
It
but I
was
just
my apartment.
I remember that was that realization that we were both in a product of our environments. You know what I'm saying? We just went with the best thing. We thought we knew what was good at the time. You get what I'm saying? And I remember a story you told me about being tied up um, and robbed. Can you elaborate on that more? You feel comfortable talking about that?
Yeah.
So can you?
That time wasn't even that bad, low key. I've
Yeah,
been tied up multiple times, but
multiple times.
I've had lots of guns put to me.
So you've had guns put to your head, and you've been tied up multiple times, being in that life.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable talking about one of the lighter situations more than the more serious situations, or are you comfortable talking about any one of the situations?
That situation you're talking about, I was staying in this low grade, like, I'm pretty sure it was the extended stay off Kuwait, like you said, in 75. But yeah, I was staying there, and this guy came, and then I'd like turned around, and then I felt the gun on the back of my head. I said, man, okay. And then before he even got there, I had already been told, like, lift up the mattress and as far back as you can, like, cut up underneath the mattress, like in the middle of the mattress on the bottom of it, and like stuff all money that you have with you, stuff it in there.
Right.
So I'd already put my money up in there, so he couldn't steal any money from me, but like my phones and stuff. And then, but yeah, I felt the gun, yeah, on the back of my head. I said, man, ugh. I said, okay. And then, and he told me, like, get down. And I mean, like, what am I supposed to do? So I just got down. So I'm like, okay. I got down and I was just like thinking, I was just like, I just don't want him to take. I was like, as long as he don't find my money, like, whatever. Like, what is he going to take my phone? I can go buy a new phone. You know, it's not that big of a deal. And when he told me get down, well, then he like zip tied my hands. He zip tied my hands
Yeah.
and then zip tied probably my feet. I don't even know.
Yeah, no, you good, you good.
My feet and my hands. And then I was just laying on the ground and he was like looking all over for the money and I was telling him, no, I wasn't saying nothing. And he was just asking me where the money was and I was just like not talking to him. And then he kept like asking me, I think he might have hit me. I don't remember. I don't remember if he hit me or not. But he was getting more serious, like, where's the money? And I was like, bro, this is just how thrilled I was. Like, I didn't care about nothing. And this is just how empty and, like, I was already suicidal back then.
Yeah.
Like, I've even been in what's that thing?
Like
A psych
Green
ward.
Oaks?
I've been in a psych ward. I was in the psych ward. Parkland held me in a psych ward. But, and that was, I think, right before this happened. Actually, I got out from that, like, a little bit before this happened because I was, like, barely out of jail. But, yeah, so I just told him, I was like, if you're going to kill me, just kill me. Like, just leave me alone. And I told him to shoot me. And then he was like, shoot you? I was like, yeah, if you're going to pull it on me, if you're going to use it, then use it or leave me alone. Like, either get out or use it. And that's what I told him. And then he was just like, he just like stepped back and he was just like, what? And he was just like, shoot you? And he was like, I didn't come here to shoot you. I said, well, you got a gun at me. So what are you going to do? Get out or shoot me? Like, let's just do this, whatever. And he was like, I'm not trying to shoot you. I'm not trying to shoot you. I said, well, I don't got no money for you. So get out or shoot me. And then he was like, close your eyes and count to however many, and then don't open your eyes until da da da. Yeah. And then, and I did. And then when I opened my eyes, no one was in there. So yeah. And then I had a knife like under my pillow, but I just couldn't get to it. Like, and then what am I gonna do? He's got like, yeah. So it's like,
but you
kind of
didn't.
pointless to have.
But you
to
didn't
try
quit.
to,
You didn't step away from the game after that, or did you? Or what did? Like,
no.
What did you?
So like my weight in the game when I was 18 or 19, I got on sugar daddy websites, and I would do public dates with them, and they would give me like $300, $400 to go to a Cowboys game with them, to go out to eat with them. But then whenever they would try to like see me privately, I would like freak out, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And then it was just getting kind of annoying. And then, cause like they always just wanted more stuff, and I'm like, oh, I was like this little girl. But then I actually was in college. I was in real community college, but then I broke my neck.
Yeah.
And I broke C4 and
From
C5
the accident. Yeah.
in my neck. They shattered so much I had to put cadaver bones in my neck and plates and screws, and then my head bust open in my wrist, and I had a halo screwed in my head in 4 places. And I was in the hospital for like half a year, and I had to relearn how to walk and like think and do all this stuff. And so when I got out, I was like, I'm not going back to the college. I was like, basically like F all of that. And but even when I was enrolled, the whole way I got in the accident, I was in the passenger seat. I wasn't even driving when the accident happened. This girl was driving. I was in the passenger seat, but I was barred out. She was barred out and drinking and like all this stuff. So it was like, like the life that I was living wasn't like, no matter if I'm in college or not, I was like still like very wild. Right. And would do crazy stuff, like to make just crazy stuff. Like I was in the streets. Like before I got into that lifestyle of streets, I had tried every other. Like
You was hustling and shit. I remember.
Yeah, I don't know how much I can say. But
You could yeah, say what you want.
well, I don't know if
You're not
there's
in
like
criminal.
statutory
Yeah, huh?
um
like you was
or not
date.
or
Oh,
do
statute of
yeah,
limitations.
I don't
No,
know.
no, no, no. You're good. You're not incriminating yourself. Like what you did is what you did because
I
they
think
don't.
that is
They
incriminating
they gotta,
myself.
but they gotta prove beyond a reasonable doubt that what you're saying is true, and certain things can be blanked out. But at the same time, like I've gotten on here and I've told about my time me selling dope in the streets or me pimping or me doing anything like that. You know what I mean? And I feel like this is freedom of speech. You're able to talk about what you want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they care enough about us
Yeah, it was
to,
just small. Like,
hey,
I don't
hold
know.
on.
I just remember
Let me
breaking
get an
into
intervention.
homes.
What about what a bottle at? I need a refill. I need some of that grape Fanta. Yeah, excuse me guys. I got my baby here, so I'm half babysitting. Uh yeah. Here. We can keep that in that trunk. It'll be great.
But basically, I had tried, like, I had, like, I don't know. I was, like, basically a homie. I would break into people's houses. Like, yeah, I was basically a homie. Like,
Yeah.
one of my homies taught me how to hotwire cars. Like, I was the homie. Um, but yeah.
What was the shift though? What was it like?
Well, then I went to hair school, and then I
Ogle.
was like, yeah, yeah. And then I was like, host. No, I was working at this hair salon during the day, and then I was at hair school at night. But then I got arrested again, but for that stuff was Zoe.
You caught that case for Zoe.
I
Well,
didn't catch the
you
case
didn't
for Zoe.
catch it for
Me and
him.
him both went to jail because he wouldn't say that it was his.
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't
And
write
you
a
wasn't gonna snitch
statement.
on him. Yeah,
So
yeah.
we both got felonies. We both went to jail. I didn't say, hey, this is mine. No, I said, that's not mine. And they said, you're going to write a statement saying whose it is? I said, no. And he was saying it's not his. So we both went to jail. But yeah, I also got jumped by the police 3
Yeah.
times.
That's when your
Yeah.
knee was skinned. That's when I
Not
had
just my knee.
you was fucked up.
I
Yeah,
was
you was
bloody
fucked up. Yeah.
everywhere.
But
Like
I just remember your
literally.
knee being skinned. And you had the them tights on. He was like, bro, the laws beat the fuck out of me. Like I remember you
They
telling
really
me that
did. I
shit.
was little and I had just got out of the hospital from my broken neck. But so yeah. But so when I got out of that, the salon that I was working at, they like fired me or something.
Mhm.
Or I was like I didn't care about it anymore, something. I don't know, but I wasn't working there anymore.
Right.
And then I started waitressing at Baby Dolls. I don't even know how that started. But I started waitressing at Baby Dolls, but they just kept firing me because I was drinking and I was underage.
Right.
And they would fire me, then they would let me come back. Then they would fire me, then they told me I can't work there again until I'm 21. I said, okay. And then even then, when I was there, they kept trying to make me be a stripper. And I was like, I would never be a stripper. I would never be a stripper. But I'm like already half naked. I'm already entertaining men. I'm already basically a stripper, even as a waitress.
Right.
But in my head, I was just like, I grew up around that. And in my head at that time, I still like didn't want to ever do that.
Yeah.
And then I started waitressing at Bombshells. And then I would do bars a lot. Why I had always done bars a
Like
lot.
Xanax.
Yeah. I was a bartard.
Yeah.
I was a bartard.
You talking to a fellow bartard itself.
Not forever in the name of Jesus. But yeah, and I don't know. Things just were getting really bad. Like I was just like I would always wreck my car, then I didn't have a car, I didn't have nowhere to go, I didn't have no place to live. And it finally got to a place of like, I was just like, I didn't have nowhere to go. I didn't have nothing. And I was like, I just kept thinking about Zoe. And I was just like, like she would do that and then she would make some money. I was like, if I could just make enough money to like get on my feet, to like get another car. I was like, and at that point, I was just, I don't know if I was just like hated men. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I think I just hated everybody, everything low key, like deep down, but including myself probably. But
Yeah. I didn't mean to chuckle with it.
but no, I
I get
mean,
what you mean because
yeah,
I can relate. Like,
like
yeah.
yeah, I chuckle. It's okay to chuckle. It's okay. But yeah, and so I hit up Zoe. And that time I hit her up and I was like, so how do I do this? And I was just like thinking, like, if I just be smart with it and just be smart with my money, then I can like get in it and then like get out. And yeah, but yeah.
But you started seeing some money. Like, I,
So
I,
this is like the beginning of my 20s and I'm 32 now.
right.
So I was seeing money, but I wasn't seeing no real money until like later.
See, and that's what I'm getting to where like I've seen you in every stage.
Okay, so the sex working life, you
Right.
saw me in every stage of it, like the
Yes.
low grade,
Yes.
very low grade,
Yeah.
and then I was in the very very upscale, high grade, like upscale. Like it got to a point where I learned, like the goal, my whole goal in that situation, in that life was, how do I learn to get more money and do less things. Like I didn't want to have sex. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. And I was like, how do I not do this but still make money? And then how do I make them give me even more money without having to do all this stuff? Like how can I manipulate these men into paying me?
And how did you figure that out? Mouthpiece.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's the mouthpiece, but low key like um getting a pimp.
Low key getting a pimp. Like to a person who knew the ins and outs of the game and can tell and give you the
Well,
right
I
direct.
remember I had. Well, even when I got out of jail. Well, no, I don't want to talk about that because I don't know the statute of. When I
Yeah.
had first got out of jail, I wasn't gonna go back to that.
Yeah.
I got into some other stuff,
Yeah. Hey,
and
go ahead.
I got into other stuff, but then I don't know if you remember, I got like set up by these girls that I thought were like my sisters, and then I got like raped, and all that happened.
In Plano. Was it in Plano?
It was in Arlington, but I was living with this girl in Plano. That's where you picked me up, I think. Or you took
I
me
picked
you
you up
up.
that
You picked
day.
me up from
That day
Plano.
that happened. I think it was the day after.
Yeah, it
I used my
was.
homegirl car and I came and picked you up. I remember that shit. I didn't want to bring that up, but yeah, I remember that.
But after that, I don't know, something just happened in my brain. And I was just like, I don't know. But yeah, then I was like, if I'm going to be doing this, like it was something that happened in my brain, but also like if I'm doing this, what I was doing was like a lot more time and less money. So I'm like, logically, I should just go to do that because I had only been doing that for like a couple months with Zoe. Then I went to jail
Yeah.
for a lot of 2015. I was in jail,
Right.
and that's where I shaved my hair off.
Yeah.
And then I got out of jail, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that again. And then I went and did that, but then that happened, and then I was like, logically, it's just smarter to do that. And so then I went back to that, but I was just very like not doing well mentally. That's when I went to, no, then I got with, so Kyla, you remember Kyla?
Yeah, Kyla. Yeah.
Okay, so Kyla, so she had got with this guy, but he was like bummy, and I was like, if I would ever pay, and I told her if I would ever pay a pimp, I was like, I would never ever,
Pay a bum.
yeah, I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, I can be a bum by myself. But and then I told her, I was like, the only way I would, if he had like this mansion, he had like all these girls, like he was a real live pimp, and he could teach me things, like, and help me like get out of this and all this stuff. And literally everything I told her. Then like a couple weeks later, she was showing me this Instagram page of this guy. And she was like, look, it's everything you were saying. And I was like, that's crazy. I was like, yeah, it is. And he lived in this like huge
In
mansion
Florida, right?
in
Yep, I
Miami.
remember. You disappeared. And I remember you came back. I'm like, where the fuck
I
you
came
been?
back on my ish though.
Yeah, but you was
I
like,
came back not
you said,
playing.
bro, I'm finna pull up. We finna play cards. And then we sit there and play cards. And you would just give
Yeah.
me the rundown of everything that's been going on with you. I remember, you know what I'm saying? But I remember, bro, it went from Benz to Maserati to fucking $400,000 house. Like it just shit.
650, put
Six.
some respect.
My bad,
I'm
six
just
hundred
saying.
and fifty
It don't
thousand
even
dollar
matter.
house. Let me put some respect on that. You know what I'm saying? But it just shit was moving so fast. You know what I'm saying? But you never and this why I always fucked with you because you never looked down on me in a position that I was in. I was always your friend. You know what I'm saying? But what I did notice was you inspired me to be in that life. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
And
actually probably inspired or whatever a lot of people to
a
be
lot
in
of
that
people
life.
because the way like it wasn't you wasn't trying to make it look away. All you was doing is just enjoying your life, but the life was extravagant. You was living the life of a fucking rapper or a celebrity. You get what I'm saying? But this is the most important question because we're finna get to the pivotal point. Was there a specific moment where you feel like God was pulling you out the game or Jesus?
Um, I feel like God was calling me a lot of times, and even before the game, God was calling me, but my heart was so hardened. And like when I was in high school, I was an atheist. I would tell people I don't believe in nothing. When you die, you die. That's it. Like my heart was very hardened. I didn't believe in nothing.
Yeah.
And then I started having demonic encounters. When I was an older teenager, I had been encountered by demons. And that's
Can you
when,
explain that?
okay, so I had done shrooms twice when I was a teenager. The first time, I would always say that was the best drug experience I ever had. I felt like I was like, yeah. The first time I felt like I was like talking, I felt like God was talking to me.
Right.
And I was like, that's just weird because I didn't even believe in God. So I was like, it's just the drugs. But then the second time, I took way more because I was like, whatever that happened, I want that like intensified. And then this is like back in the day, they weren't like regulated in stores. People were making homemade, you don't even know what you're really getting. And they were like cooked in these things, and it was a whole bunch of it. And she was telling me, don't eat all of it, don't eat all of it. And I was like, girl, I'm about to eat all this. And so I did, and that was that was the worst drug experience I ever had in my life. I actually ended up in the hospital, and I was dating Zoe at the time,
Yeah.
and we were at this party, and then I left, and then I felt it. I was like, oh no, this is bad. And when we got to his house, I was like, he was trying to go to sleep, and I was like, kept turning the lights on because every time he would turn the lights off, I would start seeing these shadows. At first, it was like these shadows, and I was just getting really bad feelings.
Yeah.
And I could hear these things talking to me, and I was like, what is happening? So I kept turning the lights on, and he was like, bro, I'm trying to sleep. What are you doing? And I was like, I actually took these shrooms and I need the lights on. And he was
Yeah.
like, bro, what? And I was like, just chill. Just let me leave the lights on.
Yeah.
And but he was like tripping, but I just kept turning the lights on. And then I thought I was dying. Like I started seeing them, these like demons. I started seeing them like all around. And I was like, what is happening? And I was just looking around and I was seeing demons everywhere. And I was like, what is going
What did
on?
they look like? Like the devil with horns,
No, like
shadow people.
like this was so long ago. This was like almost 15 years ago. But um can't remember, like I don't really know how to like describe spiritual stuff that good because it's like you can't really put words to it. But
But you're saying after that experience, you're saying that
they were telling me,
yeah,
first they were telling me I am dying. And then I was like, this is all in my head. This is all in my head. And I was like, I'm not dying. But then it got worse. And everywhere I would go, they were just all over. And I was like, I don't know how to escape this. And it was happening for hours and hours. It wouldn't stop. And it was just getting worse and worse. And then,
shadows.
no, I'm telling you, I
Like
seen
seeing people,
demons.
you seen
They weren't
actual.
people, they were figured. Like, they weren't shadows. I seen the demons.
Okay,
I seen them. Like they look horrifying. Like an actual
right.
demon looks horrifying. Like it doesn't look like a shadow. It doesn't look like a person. Demons can shapeshift into people to a demon. I've seen that happen also.
Yeah,
But like it was horrifying. And then it started telling me to kill myself. And then I know for a fact I got the spirit of suicide that night because since then on, Zoe took me to the hospital because I was trying to, like, I wanted to kill myself. And before that night, I had never thought about killing myself ever before.
right.
All these, like, I literally let demons come into me from the shrooms. Like, you're going into the spiritual realm illegally, expecting to have protection from God when you're going in through the back door and you're going into a realm where there's demons and all this other stuff, expecting not to, like, you're trying to touch fire and not get burned. It's crazy. It's stupid, you know?
Right.
So that's what was happening. But then when I went out to, well, okay, so when I went to Florida, I learned how to do everything without having to have sex. And I learned that you can actually make a lot of money in the clubs. And he taught me how to like make them pay. Some of it was a little scammy, but he also taught, like, I had to learn mouth game. He kind of taught me like scammy, but like then he taught me mouth game too. But in the clubs, that's where I learned like a lot of the mouth game. Like in the clubs, that's where I learned how to like make real
And
legit money.
mouth game for the layman, for the, like, put it in layman terms for the squares.
How to make people pay without doing anything and just give me more and more and more.
How to use your words to shift people's mindset into giving you what they have. Right. That's
And
I'm
I
just trying to
always
put it
felt
in
a lot
simple.
of shame for ever being in the game, especially like the low grade part, like where I was actually having to do stuff. And so I had like, it was almost like I was trying to like make myself feel better. Like, oh, now I'm not
Oh, now I'm
making
not
that. Now
having
I'm,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like something that I was like proving to myself or something. But like if I'm gonna do this, then I want to like do it. Like if I'm gonna be in this life, if I'm gonna do this, then I want it to be like for like worth something. Like, so it was all about money
Yeah.
to me. And then when I moved back, I left him, and when I moved back, I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again. And yeah, because I learned a lot, but a lot came with it. It was very traumatic. A lot came with it.
What was the most money you had in your possession at one time from the
I don't
game? If you
know.
can remember. 100,000,
No.
60,000, 50,000, 20,000, 30,000. I'm
I
like
mean, I had to put a deposit down for my house of like 50 or 50 or more.
so 50K.
So I
So you
had at
had that in
least
cash.
that
You had okay.
whenever I
Okay.
gave that.
Um and let's get to I'm gonna get to one thing before we get to the transition into, you know, getting into the church and getting it and finding Jesus. CML of how did that happen? Like how
That
did y'all
was,
meet?
I was like doing really well actually. I was doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, my life was with the greatest that it could be like without Jesus. It was still horrible. I was still suicidal. I was still paranoid.
Yeah.
Um, I was still empty. I was still like felt trapped. Like this is what I have to do forever. How do I get out of this? But um, but it was out of my whole life was kind of like sucky-ish. So it
Yeah.
was like out of all of that, I was like at this area of the best that I ever been,
So
and
so
better than
yeah.
like normal people's lives.
Let me interject real quick. So even having the crib, the cars, the money, you still felt empty?
Yeah, people think that's the answer, and it's not the answer.
And
That's what's
why do you
crazy.
why do you feel like that's not the answer? Why do you feel
Because I
like
had all of it.
and you still feel empty, right?
I had all of it.
So
All
why do
of
you
it.
feel like
I had
people
all of
think
it.
that's the answer? Because you did have all of it. You had the car, you had the crib, you had the money, you had the lifestyle, you
I still have
traveled.
the Porsche,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
have
I
someone
know.
else.
Yeah,
I
of
have
course.
someone like paying it. But that's what I'm saying. I had all the cars. I built my own. I
The
customized
jury,
my
yeah,
own house. I have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity in this home,
yeah,
and I had a whole bunch of jewelry. I had all the designer stuff. Like, and if you see me today, I'm not wearing nothing designer because it don't matter. Like, it don't
yeah,
matter.
yeah.
Literally, it don't matter. None of this stuff matters. Like, I told
And you
God
wear
if
the
I,
chain because it's biblical.
well,
Because
this is the only jewelry that I had bought myself.
okay,
Everything else was given to
was
me.
given to you by someone.
And this, I don't even know why I would buy a cross. I spent a good amount of money on it. I don't know why I would buy
How
this.
much did you spend on it? If you
I
don't,
don't even remember. It was at Town
yeah.
East Mall at this jewelry store.
But do you feel like it has sentimental value because it's something that you bought
I think it
off the
was
effort you
like
put
low
in?
key prophetic. Like I didn't even know. Like,
Like
because I'm wearing
subconsciously,
this,
subconsciously you bought that,
but I'm
and
like doing all this stuff, you know?
yeah, yeah,
So like I didn't know. So now it's just like I've like God was with me even when I didn't know he was, you know?
mm-hmm.
And um and it's the only thing that I bought. So like later I would get convicted. Like at first I didn't want to give away or sell my jewelry. I was like, no, this is my
Yeah,
jewelry. Like this is the only, like this is like I just felt like I need this. Like I don't know. I didn't want to sell it. But then like God would convict me of different things, and like a veil would be removed and different things. He would like strip desires out of my heart and show me like the truth, like what really matters, like more and more. And then there's such a spiritual world,
yeah,
and there's like literally a war for our souls that most people have no idea. And there's such a spiritual world out there that most people have no idea. And there's things tied to the things. So like that was a transaction. Like the stuff that, even though they were given to me, like it's a transaction in the spiritual realm.
yeah,
And so it's like I needed to get rid of it.
yeah,
I needed to get rid of it spiritually because I felt like there were spiritual things connected to it, like demonically.
yeah,
But also, I literally had my hands like this to God and said, you know what? Like when I left that life, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was 31 when I quit stripping. And because, like, for the people that don't know, I was like a stripper for like 6, 7 years, 8 years, 6 to 8 years. Yeah, I like got out of the lower grade and I just became a stripper, and then I like stayed doing that because it worked. It was the safest route. If you're gonna be in that life, I highly recommend being a stripper. It's safer, it's cleaner, it's less stuff you have to do, more money. But I'm not recommending that life to
You
anyone. But
saying,
if
but
you
like if you're
are in
gonna
that
take that
life,
route, you might as well dance because you're gonna make more money and not have to
it's
do it.
safer.
Yeah, it's safer.
You're not gonna, no one can come put a gun to your head in the middle of dancing,
Yeah,
you know. And there's clubs where you're not, you can find clean clubs where no one's expecting to have sex with you in a VIP room, you know.
right,
So,
exactly.
but
did you struggle letting go of your old identity or walking away from the life?
So
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of things that you're walking away from. You're walking away from essentially your career at the moment. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you go? It's like almost like being a drug dealer. How can you go from a drug dealer to a 9 to 5? You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of ego can be in it. You know what I
it's
mean?
ego, it's pride, it's control, it's greed,
Yes.
it's security.
Yeah. You're right.
So I was encountered. So to go there, I have to go back. I was encountered by God. I was encountered by Jesus specifically in jail in 2024. The beginning of 2024, I was in jail again.
Yeah.
And actually, before I went to jail, like a few months before I went to jail, I met this guy. He was actually, God is so funny because he placed someone in my life that he knew would get my attention because I was like, I would never be a square. I would never go date unless he was this, or this, you
And
know?
who that
And it
that
was an
was
ex NFL player.
okay.
And
You don't gotta say his name.
he came to my job and my old job, the strip club. And
You said an ex NFL player? Like Dallas Cowboys? Okay. Don't say that. Just go ahead. Keep
no.
going.
But and so we started talking, and at that moment in my life, he was like the most godliest guy I had ever seen. And he lived out of state, but he would go, like, he wouldn't drink or anything at the club. And he was like spending money, but he wasn't drinking or anything. And he like got my number and stuff. And then he went back home out of state. And then he was like going to church every Sunday, and I was like, church, what is going on? And
Yeah.
he was going to church every Sunday. Then he started sending me the sermons and was telling me to like watch them, and I was like, I'm a stripper. Like, do you not remember where you met me?
Yeah.
And I was just like, what is happening? And then, but we started talking like more and more, and I genuinely was attracted to him. And it was also like, this was before Jesus. So I was also thinking, like, just to be honest, like, if this works out, you know, this could possibly be like a way out. Like,
Yep.
but I was like, I don't want to like depend on a man for anything. So I'm just going to keep doing me and just let things go however they go.
Right.
And then he kept sending me the sermons and talking to me about God and sending me these songs that are like kind of gaudy, like Friday and stuff like that. And I wouldn't listen to that type of stuff. And so I was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then and he kept telling me like, just like, can you please watch the sermon so we can, he was like, I'm at church, I'm sending you the live stream, I want to talk to you about it afterwards. And I was like, bro, I'm a stripper, I'm about to go to jail. Like, what do you think?
Yeah. Like what's going on?
What's happening? And he just didn't care. He was just like, he would just ignore me and just keep doing it. And I was like, okay. And then one of the times he sent me a song, and it had something to do, it wasn't like super godly, like a worship song, but it was like Friday, like something, there was God in it.
Yeah.
And something happened, and I just started crying, thinking about like God when I was listening to it. And I was like, okay. And like before this, I had already been feeling like I had already been suicidal. I had already been like, there were nights when I would come home from the club and I would just feel so empty and like, what is my life? Like, I just like, I'm just so alone. Like, this can't be in like my purpose. Like, so why am I even here in this world? Like, this can't be like what I'm here. And I've been doing this for so long. Like, and like, is this the only thing that I can do for all my life? Like, I'm getting older now. I'm like in my 30s. Like I have this desire for children. I have a desire for marriage, but what I'm doing right now, that
It's not
how
going.
is
How you
that? That
gonna
doesn't
get
even
there?
align, you know?
Exactly.
And so I'm just like, just feeling like, but now I have all this stuff and I've built this whole reputation of being this like trapper with all this money and
Trapper.
just like that's how people know me. They would call me Ash Cash. They would call me like Cashley. They would call me all these things. And that's just like I had built this reputation and all this stuff and all these bills and this lifestyle. And it was like, what was I supposed to do? And I didn't think I could do anything. Well, back then I was like, I would stay over myself all the time. Like I would never be a square. I would never be a square. And like all this stuff. And so, but then God's like laughing and he's like, okay. And then he sent me this guy. And before that, I had never dated anyone that I had met at the club ever before, ever. And so God is just like funny. But, and so, yeah. And then like 2 weeks before I went to jail, when I had came home from work, I just like felt really empty. And I was like, and I had watched a couple of the sermons that he had sent me, that guy. And I was like,
And this is after the CML shit, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that brought me into a way lower place in life.
Like it took you down.
Mentally, physically,
Okay.
well, actually, all the ways, not
Yeah.
just mentally. Yeah,
Well, let me ask you a question.
all the
Did
ways.
you
That was
ever,
horrible.
by the things you were doing,
That was so horrible.
like the lifestyle you
I
were
can't
living,
believe
did
I
you
did
ever
that.
feel unworthy of forgiveness? You ever felt like,
From who?
Jesus, God, did you ever feel like, oh, I was a sinner? So, like, do you feel like you were a sinner?
I was a sinner.
Right. So, do you feel like you were
It was the biggest of them all.
right?
I was like, Paul, I was
Like, I
murdering
was
the
a sinner,
Christians. I
baby.
denied
Nah,
Jesus for
look,
30 years of
but
my
do you
life.
feel like you were unworthy for forgiveness? Do you feel like that you have to go the extra mile in repenting and giving yourself to the Lord, like because of what you did?
So the whole gospel message is forgiveness.
Okay.
That's what Jesus is.
Yeah.
God manifested himself into a human form so that we could have forgiveness.
Right.
So I had never knew the gospel. I had never heard the gospel. All my 30 years, never heard the gospel. I didn't know nothing about Jesus. I didn't know nothing about the Bible.
Right.
I didn't know nothing about any of that. I had heard about like this white guy and I was like, but I was just like, well, even like years back, I had bought this like 1611 Bible because I was like, it's got to be edited. Oh, there's all these different, I was like, it's got to be edited. There's different versions. And I had bought the Apocrypha and all this stuff because I started doing lots of research, but like years ago.
Yeah.
And then I was even doing research about Jesus. I wouldn't read the Bibles. I just bought them. But I had bought like these very old ones so
Right.
that I wanted the first, and the 1611 King James Bible is the first Bible that was translated into English from the Ethiopian Bible. So that's why when people say, like it's a white man's religion, actually Christianity originated in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is one of the first countries that is named in the Bible.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not a white man's religion at all. They weren't even white. But anyways, so I had bought the 1611 King James Bible. I wouldn't read it, but I had bought all these things. And then it was like kind of on a mission to like disprove Jesus.
Yeah.
And so I started doing all this research, but all the research was like there was evidence. There was historical evidence that he was real. The Bible's real. I was like, okay. So then it would just make me like even more concerned, kind of like just this like like this feeling like.
Okay, pause. Hold on, real quick. You gotta walk past. Go ahead. Okay.
But that's when I got into New Age.
When it comes to, you said you're not pressed on religion. You're pressed on a relationship.
There's an actual demonic spirit called the religious spirit. I've seen it casted out of people.
Okay. So you're more so with having a relationship with God and Jesus, right?
Yeah, the Bible.
Okay. What scripture?
And I believe Jesus is God.
Yeah, what scripture
in
or
human
message changed your life the most?
The gospel.
What's the gospel?
The gospel is Jesus. So when I was in jail, and
so it wasn't a certain scripture.
No.
Okay.
No.
It was everything.
It's Jesus, literally Jesus. So when I was in jail in 2024, it was the beginning. I had prayed. Oh yeah, I had got home that night. It was like 2 weeks before I went to jail, and I was just like feeling very empty and lost, and like this like urge. Like I just kept thinking about this thought of like a Jesus being God. He could possibly be God. I didn't know anything about Jesus,
Yeah.
but he kept sending me these sermons. And so now I'm like hearing a little bit and I'm like, what if this is God? And I was deep into like witchcraft, like all this new age stuff.
Right.
And so I was like in my backyard charging crystals, doing all this crazy, insane stuff, trying to ward off demons. But only the name of Jesus Christ can ward off demons. I've seen it myself. But
So you've seen Jesus.
I've
Have you felt him?
I've felt him. I've
Okay.
seen him. So yeah, and so I made this prayer like 2 weeks before I went to jail. I did this prayer, and I was like, like this Jesus, like if you are real, if you are out there, if you can hear me, like I am sorry for like the things that I'm doing. But I had this like very sincere, like open heart, like, and it was the first time I ever prayed to Jesus. It was the first time I ever had this heart towards God. I had never called out to God like saying I'm sorry for anything I did. I had never ever done that my whole life. And I was like, and I just was saying this like very simple. I didn't even know how to say it or what to say. I was just saying like, I don't know what else to do. Like this is just my life. Like this is all I know. Like you, if you're real, you know my life, so you
Right.
get it,
Yeah.
I was like, but I'm sorry. And then nothing happened. I didn't feel anything. I didn't get encountered. I just went to sleep. Still went to jail. Everything was the same. So it wasn't anything like crazy that happened, but something happened spiritually for sure. Because when I was in jail, then I went to these ladies came to talk about God or whatever in the laundry room. And so
Yeah.
I was bored and I was like, I'll just go. And when I went, they were teaching us the gospel and they were teaching us about Jesus. And when she was reading and talking about these scriptures and like teaching the gospel and
Right.
telling me like the actual message of Jesus, I just like, I felt God. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like I supernaturally was encountered by God, and like I just started like bawling, and I was like feeling all these feelings of peace and love and joy, and I felt like I could hear him like talking to me, and it was Jesus, and it was like it was just really crazy. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was really crazy. And it, like something happened in that moment. Something happened like after that. I will never be the same because like it was like something was confirmed when she was talking, and and then I had that supernatural experience while she was saying it. Like something confirmed like deep in my knowing, like this is what you've been searching for. This is the truth. Like I had been searching for truth and everything. I had been trying to figure out what is the truth. Why are we here? Who is God?
Who is
Yeah, like
Yeah, like so why do people praise Jesus and not God?
Jesus is God.
Jesus is God's son, right?
Jesus is God manifested in human form.
So
He came,
so
he
God
died.
put himself in the form of
Yes.
Jesus to come to
In the
send
form of a
message.
human,
Okay.
to be the perfect human, to live the life that we couldn't,
Okay.
because he never sinned.
And
And we are
me and you
horrible.
have definitely had conversations about, me, like a lot of my family are, Muslims, and they
Your
identify.
mom was not.
My mom wasn't. She believed in Jesus. But what I was saying is I've gotten information from all places, right?
Yeah.
I'm not Muslim, but at the same
Amen. Because a few months ago you
at
said you were. So I really love that.
I did because
Praise
I
Jesus.
wanted to be so bad because I feel like just every I mean it could have been because they're my family, but every Muslim I met they were so pure hearted. Like when it came to me or not judging me and shit like that, and I felt like
But it's crazy because the Quran teaches judgment.
and I didn't know
It
that.
teaches condemnation.
But
If
let
you
me tell
do
you this.
something, you will
People
die.
look, I've been
Cut
to
your head off.
churches. Get decapitated for sinning. Look,
I don't
we're
know
gonna
the
get into that.
exact
We're gonna get into
scriptures,
that another
but
time. But I've been judged by um Baptists, like Christians, like
yeah,
I've been judged by them.
I
They
understand
they
that.
tell me like, oh, you're doing this, you're going to go to hell. If you don't believe Jesus Christ died on the cross for you, you're going to go to hell. And it's like finger pointing, right?
No, I
And
understand.
I didn't. One thing about me, I'm not a person that's going to go off of something about a person. So just because you saying that don't mean that that's what that is. I got to do my own information. I got to
You
do
have to
my
have your
own
own
research.
experience. You have to have
Exactly,
your own
right?
encounter.
So what I believe, I don't believe in religion, and I stand on this. I don't believe in religion. I believe in we have a higher power, and that's God. You get what I'm saying? I do believe in Jesus, and I do believe Jesus was God's son. I believe Jesus was a prophet, and he was put on this earth to deliver a message, and he had to die to show his belief, and that could be my ignorance. That could be me not knowing the information yet because I have not read the Bible. I'm just going off of things that I have experienced in life and things that I have read in life. You get what I mean? So I don't know. I could be completely wrong. So if I'm wrong, correct me. But
Well, I
um
don't agree with that.
okay, that's yeah, but I don't again, I
But
don't
who am I
know.
to say?
You're speaking to a person who is
Like I know
uh
what I know.
I'm ignorant to a lot of religious things, or like with Jesus in his entirety, because I felt like he was a prophet. He was just like anybody else. So
But what other prophet rose from the grave? There's historically, even from
right,
other cultures that didn't even believe in Jesus, didn't even believe Jesus is God, have written down and recorded and documented that he rose from the grave.
right.
What other prophet can do
But
that?
how my thing was, I didn't believe it. And I didn't believe it because I never
What other prophet can raise people from the dead? There's historically documented he rose people from the dead.
yes.
Miracles, healings. He would cast demons out of people. No other prophet could do any of the things that he recorded historically. They have more evidence for Jesus than Caesar, than any other historical figure ever.
Yeah. And that's why I'm glad you're on here, because you can give the like you can give the
But it's
answers
not
to
about
the shit that I don't like. I don't.
so knowing that like was good knowledge, but until I like had an experience, like an
You have to
encounter,
have your own personal experience with Jesus in
that's
order
what
to.
changed my life. Like I
Okay.
had been doing the research, I had some knowledge, but you can't believe it and knowing and like know it until you experience an
Okay.
encounter.
How do you feel about Christianity?
I'm technically a Christian.
Okay. Do you?
I don't believe in like denominations. I don't believe in religion.
Yeah.
I don't believe in, but being a Christian, like biblically, just means that you follow Christ.
Okay.
And I follow
Have you
Christ.
ever heard the term that Christianity was man made and forced upon people to sway their decisions or keep the peace for them, you know?
Yeah.
You have, and what do you feel about that?
Christianity came way before that.
Way before what?
Slavery? Is that what you're talking about?
No, 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 not just slavery. Control of the masses. They say religion was put on earth to control the masses,
Okay,
and
because I used to think that too.
yeah,
I
yeah,
used to think all the stuff.
yeah, yeah. So you talking to a person who, like my mom, like my mom got shot by my baby mama. So I question God a lot. Like, why would you let this happen to me? Like, I met her and she shot my mama, so I feel like I carry a lot of that guilt. So it's like I
But
question.
if she believed in Jesus,
My mom did.
then she's
My grandma did.
in heaven. She's with Jesus.
Yeah.
So she's not hurting. She's in a better place, literally.
And I got a even better question. Coming from where you came from, what advice? Because I want to say this again. I've seen you pull up Maseratis, Rolls Royces, fucking big ass cribs, designer, jewelry, like real jewelry. Like I've seen you live the life that a lot of these young women want to get in the life and experience, but you walked away from the life because you realized all that shit wasn't important. What advice do you have for young ladies out there that are in the life that are trying to get out the life? Or what advice do you have? It doesn't necessarily have to be about religion. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the life. But what do you feel about women who are, because let me tell you this, a lot of girls that get into the lifestyle, they suffer from childhood trauma or trauma from growing up. So all they're trying to do
A
is
lot of
find
daddy
themselves.
issues.
You got a lot of daddy issues. So what they're looking for is acceptance. What do hoes call their pimps? Daddy. You know what I mean? And what does a pimp say he is? A pimp say, I'm your financial advisor, I'm your daddy, I'm your brother, I'm your this, I'm your dad, I'm your he's everything. He wanna be everything in the world in order to have control of you, right? And I'm just saying I'm being blunt because this coming from a guy who was in the game, right? It's all manipulation. But
It's definitely manipulation.
it's definitely manipulation. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to convince a female that her going out and selling her body is going to benefit both of y'all when it's just benefiting the guy, right? And this is I'm a nigga saying this, so it's like
And I mean, to be real, they're bums. They're very feminine men
very, very so. You know what I'm
sends their
saying?
women
Very,
out to
very
do
much
that.
so. And I think that you know the game, and what it is. It's almost like I hate bringing up pedophiles, but it's like they prey on young women whose mind are
Yeah.
not developed yet, to get them to believe in this facade of money, cars, clothes,
Because
the
even my
life.
situation in Miami, so he flew me out to Miami.
Right,
I gave me a room in this huge mansion. This
right.
huge mansion. His girls, I thought they were like their cars, but it was his cars that they would use.
Use, yeah,
Maseratis, Benz, not Benz, Bentleys, all these things. He, it was just, and everyone had all this stuff, and I was just like, and then it's in Miami. He's taking me all around South Beach, all these different areas, and
yeah,
I'm like, and on yachts and just different. It's like crazy things from someone that was like living in a hotel,
yeah.
literally. Like I had
So
been
you went from that to like, damn, like,
living in this huge mansion, but anytime things weren't going well, like if you leave with nothing,
you leave with zero.
and you're back to exactly where you were.
Exactly.
So
So you can only
like
live that way if you under pimping, or you can only live that way if you around a certain.
if you're gonna go make money every day.
So if you gonna get your ass out there and go and you gonna sell that ass every day, you're gonna
Well,
live
I
a
will say
lifestyle.
he was like big into like trying to get us to like, make money without having
Start
to
business. Oh,
sell
without having.
yourself.
Okay.
Like, so that was like a plus, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's a physical game.
Right.
I don't know any pimp who's never put his hands on his girl. So that's just what it is.
So every P, even the people
I'm not
brother
saying they all have, but I've never met one that has
that
never.
hasn't put him on one of his girls, is what you're saying. Not speaking on you.
I've been like in situations.
Situations, yeah.
Been in lots of situations.
Well, you know,
But even before the game, the situations I would like even before the game, my high school sweetheart, Zoe, like
yeah,
we were throwing bricks at each other outside his mom's house. Like his neighbors were calling the cops on us, and I was
yeah,
like 16. So
yeah.
that's just what I grew up like. So
Well, I feel like we were saying earlier about the daddy issues and a lot of trauma. I feel like a lot of girls do get in the game and they fall for the facade, the lifestyle, and all that. You know what I'm saying? But there's other ways and there's other options to get out of that. You know what I'm saying? So we finna close up, but if you can go out and give a closing statement to young girls out there that are dealing with addiction, that are in a situation where they are fucking with a nigga who like or a pimp, they under a pimp who they feel like they scared to get away from because they're scared of starting over. Because one thing about it is a lot of females are scared of starting over. So they were like, I built this so much, I don't want to start over. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not starting over. Maybe it's just beginning. I could be wrong, but I just feel like that way. You could be just beginning by leaving the situation that you in. I'm gonna catch a lot of slack from what I'm saying here because I'm a male and I come from the game. But at the same time, I'm just saying how I feel. But if you do, you have anything you can tell these young women out here because there's always gonna be a fresh batch of young women that's getting in the game to be workers, strippers, or anything. But is there anything you could tell them or anything or any way you could guide them to having a relationship with God, whether they stay strippers and all that or not? Is there any way that you can help them gain a relationship with Jesus and God?
So you asked how I got out. The only way that Jesus is literally the only thing that could have got me out the game.
In what way?
Literally. Jesus is the only thing.
Speaking
And
to
it
you, like
being encountered by him, but it wasn't just that one time was like, okay, I can't deny him anymore. I know Jesus is real. I know Jesus is God. That's
right,
how strong that supernatural encounter was.
right,
And then I asked the jail for a Bible. They gave me this Bible and I would start reading it. And I started reading about Jesus. I started reading the New Testament, the Gospels. I was like, I never had knew anything about Jesus. I read that Jesus came for art, forgive, like so that we could be forgiven. I had never heard that. I had heard the what you had been taught. If you sin, you go to hell.
yeah,
And so in my eyes, I'm going to hell. Why do I need to go talk to a God that's not going to forgive me? I'm going to
exactly,
hell.
yeah,
So what is the point of even trying to have a relationship with someone if I'm going to hell?
right,
So that's how it was in my eyes. I didn't know nothing about Jesus. I didn't know the good news of Jesus. I didn't know God put himself in human form to save us. I didn't know when he died, he went into hell, grabbed the keys from Satan that were given through Adam and Eve to make everything right so that we could have a relationship. I didn't know nothing about the Holy Spirit. So when I got out, it was a process. I didn't just quit stripping, but that process, like me and the one dude, the church guy, we were still dating afterwards, and then he was like taking care of me, and because like neither one of us wanted me to go back to the club. But then I was like, the more I got closer to God, the more I was reading my Bible, I was like, this actually isn't a godly relationship, and there's a lot of stuff here that's not. So I
yeah,
broke up with him, but me breaking up with him meant I'm going back to the club. So I went back to the club, still having this like somewhat relationship with God, this like beginning of it. I still went back to the club. I went back to the club, but I kept when I would get out the club, when I would go home or before I would go to the club, I would be reading my Bible. I
yeah,
would be talking to God. Like I just would
yeah.
talk to him and I would have these encounters. He would encounter me. And I didn't start seeing, I've had visions and dreams of God.
What
Like,
about the casting? Like, have you? Okay, I've seen online where you have demons cast out of you and you've cast demons out of people. How does that work? Like, how does
Jesus.
that feel? How do you know that
That's
because
what I'm saying. People don't understand. I am different. Like who I am today, like, okay, 2024, I was on a whole bunch of psych medication because I had like extreme paranoia, all these different things. The doctors told me that I had all these different things, suicidal, just all these different things. I was on that, but I was also taking street drugs. I was also smoking so much weed. And I don't do anything at all. I don't even smoke weed because I get high off the Holy Spirit. That's what people don't understand. I literally get high off the Holy Spirit.
yeah,
This peace came into me in 2024. The closer I got to God,
yeah,
the closer I got to Jesus, this peace, this supernatural peace, love, and joy filled me. The Holy Spirit filled me. Then when I started going, when I found the deliverance church and I started learning about like spiritual warfare, because I was dealing with a lot of different demonic things, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I didn't even know what was going on with me. But I'm like reading in the Bible, okay, Jesus and his disciples are casting demons out of people. Who could cast demons out of me? Because I feel like that's something happening to me.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm seeing demons shapeshift from demons to people in my dreams, trying to
yeah.
rape me in my dreams.
Trying to
So,
rape you in your
yes,
dreams?
I would have sleep paralysis.
Shit.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like the devil, Satan himself has came to me in my dream and told me that he's my dad and not God. Like, I'm telling you, there's a real war for your soul. There's a spiritual world that people can't see. But I, because God will let you see what you want to see, but you've got to go to him, and he is the legal way to everything. Like, if you go to him, he will give you all these things, but you have to go to him. He's the source. So it's like, I found this deliverance church, and then the deliverance church, the first day that I went, I had only heard of a water baptism. He did an altar call. I don't even know how I got up there. I just found myself up there, and I was like, why am I up here at the altar? And I was like,
Yeah.
why am I up here? And I started freaking out, and I was like, I don't know why I'm up here. And I was like, how did I get up here? And then he did an altar call for the baptism of the Holy Spirit, which is a whole separate baptism, and it's biblical. And just so that you know, Jesus would sit and eat with sinners. So the Christians that were being represented to you is not Jesus Christ-like. That's not the example that Jesus was giving in the Bible.
Right.
Like, he would literally sit with sinners. He said he didn't come to save people that think they're perfect. He came to save the lost people.
They want to be saved.
Like, not people that think they're perfect, not people that think they've never done nothing wrong. Then what can I do for you?
Yeah.
You know? Like, you think you're saved by yourself. You think your own works get you to heaven. If you think your own works get you to heaven, it says one sin separates us from the holy God.
Yeah.
Just one lie. One lie. So if anyone thinks they've never sinned, I'm so sorry to break it to you. But you're further from God than probably people that have sinned and are going to God, like, with an open heart. Like, I'm sorry I've sinned. I just don't know what else to do. God can do more with that than someone that thinks, oh, I've never done nothing wrong. I'm at least better than this person. I'm better than this person. I'm better than this person. I don't need help to get to heaven. My own works get me to heaven. I'm righteous enough to get to heaven.
Yeah.
God can't do nothing with that. Your pride is in the way. Your ego's in the way. You think you can get yourself to heaven if you've never sinned. Just like the Bible says, pick up the stone and throw it at the adulterous woman. You who has never sinned, be the first to pick up a stone. Who can do that? No one. No one. So
Hey, it's refreshing to hear
Jesus
you speak
is
like
the
this,
only
my nigga.
thing that could have got me out that life. Like, if anyone gets anything from this, Jesus is the only thing that could have got me out that life. And it was growing a relationship stronger and stronger and stronger with Jesus. He would do all these things in my life. Like, before, like 2 years before I started the Jesus journey, I had prayed to God, and I said, remove any connections I have with any of my blood. And I didn't speak to any of my blood, none of my blood, my mom, my sister, no one, for years. In 2024, when I started getting encounters with God, and I would read the Bible, and it's like, I will forgive you as much as you forgive others. I would read his word. His word is the living word of God. Like, if you read it with a sincere heart of like, I want to understand you. He literally will encounter you when you read it. And I would be reading it, and he would just like speak to me, like, and just start talking to me, like, have you forgiven your family? And I would be like at home, like, oh my goodness, no,
I know you had
I'm
issues with your mom,
horrible.
your sister. Yeah, like I know, like
And if you fast forward to today, it's been less than 2 years. I'm literally
everything good.
the most
Yeah,
sober I've ever been in my whole entire life. I was on sleeping medicine since middle school. I sleep like a baby now. I
yeah,
sleep amazing now. I have I'm closer with my mom and my sister than I've ever been in my life. Like, all these, it's like my heart. I had visions of him like asking me for my heart, and I was giving him my heart, and I was like crying, and I was like, it's gross, it's dirty. Because I didn't want to give it to him in the vision. I didn't want to give it to him. I was like crying at church at the altar, and I had this vision. I didn't want to give him my heart. It was black. I seen the heart. It was black. It was broken. And he was like, I seen Jesus, and he was like asking me, give it to me. And I was like, no, I don't want to give it to you. And then he was like holding this new heart Like he's literally given me a new heart. And at church, I've had demons. Even a couple weeks ago, I had more demons casted out of me. That was actually insane. That was crazy. Yeah, but I'm telling you, I did all these things
Yeah.
before Jesus to try to get demons to leave me alone because I knew demons were real. I did all these things trying to get them to leave me alone. The only thing that has ever made a demon leave out of my body is the name of Jesus. I have personally seen through me, God use me to deliver people from demons. Like,
That's why you're sitting right here right now.
like,
That's why you're sitting right here right now, because I don't know if you realize it, but this episode and these clips and these videos are going to get out to a lot of other females who are all around the world, probably the country. You know what I'm like all around the country, all around the nation. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what I'm gonna push. You my first female interview, my first female co-host to really sit here and get your story out there and see. Okay, I started at the bottom. I made it to the top, but I still walked away with my dignity, my pride, and I found Jesus. And
no,
it's
I gave up all the dignity. I gave up all the pride. Literally, when I left the club, I
yeah,
told God, I thought I was going to have to live in a
no,
box on the streets.
but you gave
I
up.
thought I was going to give up everything.
Listen, when you gave what you gave up, and this is what I mean by dignity and pride. Like what you gave up was ego. What you gave up was greed, like you said. You know what I'm saying? When you walking with dignity and pride, what I mean was you walked away from the lifestyle and the money with your chin high and your chest out. That's what I mean.
But I
So
didn't. I was crying and I was on
no,
the
no, no. It's
ground.
okay to cry. It's okay to
I
be
was
on.
on the ground with
It's
God,
okay to
like,
be on
I'm
the
going to be
ground.
on the streets living in a box again, but I did it before. Now I'll have you.
But do you know how many people in general, drug dealers, strippers,
It's a trap.
prostitutes,
They can't get out
they
because of
can't
fast
walk.
money.
It's so hard to walk away. You get what I'm saying? But you made the choice to walk away. So by you making the choice to walk away, that means you walking away with your chin high and your chest out. You're gonna cry. It's gonna hurt. You know what I'm saying? For sure. But at the same time, you made that choice. And I
Yeah, and even
appreciate you.
after I
Yeah.
got baptized in the water, I was still in the club. So I don't want people to think like, oh, I have to go to God to be, I have to be perfect to go to Jesus. You
Yeah. It
can't
don't
be
gotta be a
perfect in
dramatic just
your
change
own
in the
self
one
and
day.
your own
Yeah.
works can never be perfect.
For
Like
sure.
you just go to him, and then the closer you get to him, he will change your desires. Like I stopped having desires for money. I stopped having desires for things. Like I used to have custom paintings all over my house of like of money and like all these money stuff.
Yeah.
And one day I woke up and I was still in the club. I was still in that light. But one day I woke up and I looked around my house and I said, I worship money. That's my God.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah. But we gotta wrap it up, man. But I
Yeah.
appreciate you for coming on. Like this finna be a good episode, man. I can't wait to get it out there. But I appreciate you for coming on and telling your story, because you can change a lot of women or a lot of young ladies' futures by them hearing your story. You know
I
what
have
I'm
a sane
saying?
mind. And I do want to also say the devil bird feeds you your godly inheritance
Yeah.
because God has blessed me to be able to keep my house. You know, I sold a lot of things, but he's blessed me to be able to keep my house. I'm a roofer. I have a roofing job. So it's like I still am like commission only. I'm still 1099. So it's like he will make a path for you. Like he can pour favor out on me, but he has to like purge things out of our hearts first. He's got to make sure, all like, if I give you this, are you going to go by designer with it?
Exactly.
If I
Yeah.
give you, what are you going to do? And I went on my first mission trip
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
last
yeah,
month
yeah.
too.
You told me. How was that?
I seen through the power of God, I prayed for a woman who had been shot in her spine, hadn't been able to move or feel anything waist down for 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
I was praying for her. She felt fire all in her legs. And she said, I feel something. She hadn't felt nothing in her body in 8 or 9 years. I kept praying. I said, okay, I had already seen this other little girl be healed, left her wheelchair outside the stadium. Like God was doing crazy stuff that day. And so I had this like faith. I was like, no, you're gonna come out. And so the lady that was paralyzed literally started picking up her legs and walking. Our God is an amazing, powerful God.
Our God
What is the
is
creator
an
to the
amazing, powerful
creation?
God. I mean,
He speaks and the earth is formed. He's the God of all impossibles.
that part, that part. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank y'all for coming to another episode, man. This is beautiful, and I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. The ones that are tuning in, the ones that been on the live. I see y'all. Thank you, Ashley, for coming out. You know what
Thank
I'm
you,
saying?
Garrett.
Because we've been trying to get this shit done for so long. But I'm glad you actually came out and were able to tell your story. It's an honor to be in your presence right now and to hear your story. And yeah, that's another episode. We got two more episodes left. This is episode what, 8, Charm? It's episode 8. We got two more episodes left for the season, and then we're getting ready for season 2. We got a lot of surprises for y'all going forward. God bless everybody. You know what I'm saying? This is Texas T Podcast where we give you the tools you can use and all the local news. I'm your host, Hooked Out. My co-host Ashley for today. We out.